And good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome to today's episode of Law, News, and Laughter. In the news today, we have a marriage celebrant who attended the Alec Baldwin School of Firearms Safety, an OnlyFans cop who got pulled over by, who actually went and pulled over one of her subscribers, while another New Jersey cop is suing a male supervisor after allegedly asking if she got an upgrade to her boobs. Also, want to be an influencer? There's a degree for that. And they call us the grifters. Well, you know. And in our case review, X is suing X. And finally, meet Poppy, the family court's newest emotional support animal for kids. All that and more coming up on today's episode of Law, News, and Laughter, people. Let's get stuck into it. Alrighty, it is Thursday. Hopefully everybody is enjoying their time for their Wednesday evening, for those of you in the US. Assume it's still Wednesday evening over in the UK as well. I actually pay more attention to the time zones than that, but anyway. Also, hello to everybody watching over on the Rumble Ghetto. Good to see everyone else. Jason J, I'm the Princess. Hello, Angel Wolf. Good to see you. Amateur Iconoclast. Zero Signal. Oh, and in case they're watching, hello, V. Good to see you people too. Your puppy is also named Poppy. Lovely. All right, let's get stuck into it because we have a lot to cover and we have a lot of ground to cover and not a lot of time to do it in. But in the meantime, let's start with this one. Australian National University apologises and admits its mistake over an email claiming that the ACT's new drug laws won't apply on campus. So there you go. For anyone that missed it, the Australian Capital Territory has got a bill that came was it either on the 1st of this month or the 1st of next month, that comes into effect basically legalising small amounts of pretty much every illicit drug on the face of the planet. Some people are happy about it, some people are not. I'm personally more for more regulation over prohibition because stupid people are going to do stupid shit. You might as well tax them and bolster the health industry or whatever the hell else you want to do with it. But yeah, so apparently the Australian National University decided that this law would stop at its boundaries. Yeah, not so much. The Australian National University has walked back claims that the ACT's upcoming drug decriminalisation laws would not apply on its campus because the university is located on Commonwealth land. Yeah. Nope. According to the university, the email was sent to ANU students who live on campus to advise the university community of the ANU's stance on the drugs before the new ACT laws take effect later this month. The nation first legislation. I need some V. Hang on. There we go. The nation first legislation will decriminalise some illicit drugs in small amounts. It's pretty much all the major heavy hitters. It is important to note that these ACT laws do not apply on ANU campus. Way to think you're. Why would you even think this? Which is a Commonwealth authority on federal land, subject to Commonwealth law, said the email to the ANU students. But later today, they said it was not the case and apologised. We apologise for the confusion caused. We will be in touch with residents to clarify. Both ACT and Commonwealth laws apply to members of ANU's community while on campus. No shit, you think? All of these laws can be enforced by the police in the usual manner. ANU also requires its community to comply with ANU legislation and policies. I'm not okay with them calling it legislation. I'm not okay with private entities such as legislation coming out with, like, rules and regulations is fine. Calling it legislation? Yeah, not so much. Dumb professor thinks they make the rules? Yes. The spokesperson said the university's priority was the safety and well-being of the university community. Speaking from anecdotal and, shall we say, not so personal knowledge, this shit was going on at university campuses anyway. saying that the rules don't apply and whatever else just gives them grounds to expel students. That's really all they're after. Because their rules, the university rules, do shit all anyway. The key thing to note in this instance is that ANU does not allow illicit drugs in our residences. This will be the case going forward, they said. This letter was intended to reiterate that to our residents. Well, way to fuck that up. Drugs are bad, okay. Turn the notification was just notified. That's fine, Tina. Half the time I get notified that I'm going live about an hour or two after I go live. So usually after I've finished. Good job, you two. The ACT law applies, said Chief Police Officer. The new legislation decriminalising some illicit drugs in small amounts will take effect later this month on October 28. The new law means that those found with the drugs will not face jail time, but could still be fined and will have the drugs confiscated. It's literally a between $100 and $160 fine. Or, and I stress this, or, OR in big bold letters, a referral to drug rehabilitation counselling. And it's not even like they have to necessarily undertake it. The ACT Chief Police Officer, Neil Gorgon, told the ABC Radio Canberra that the campus, like all Commonwealth land in the ACT, would fall under the same laws as anywhere else in the territory. The ANU is not the only area situated on Commonwealth land. No, it'd be like saying, okay, here is an area inside a state. It is federal land, so any state crimes can be committed on federal land with no repercussions unless the federal government has legislated the same. That is bullshit. It's called concurrency of laws, people. It is in the Constitution. The Parliamentary Triangle, including the banks of Lake Burley-Griffin, is operated by the the National Capital Authority, and is therefore on Commonwealth land. The ACT law will apply on the ANU campus. Certainly, if someone's walking around at Lake Burley-Griffin, which is NCA land, they will be treated as if the ACT law applies. Take a swig of V. Yeah, I might need another one. Thank you. ACT Attorney General Shane Rattenberry also confirmed that territory laws applied within the university grounds. Territory laws apply everywhere in the ACT. But the other thing that the ANU has highlighted is that for students who live in the on-campus accommodation, there are occupancy agreements, and those agreements also prohibit having drugs in ANU residences. Yes, and that is contractual. That is not any sort of legal or legislative obligation. If the students take the drugs into the residencies, they breach the terms of their residency. That's all it is. It's a breach of contract. The ANU has the right to terminate said contract and remove the students from the residence. That's really about it. I'm sorry, what, Jonathan? I got flirted with by 3 Amish girls. Dude, how big was your beard today? And saw a bald eagle running errands in town. That's pretty cool. The rule of the ANU, that's a rule of the ANU and applies to those residents as part of their agreement of living there, but does not relate to how the law operates. No shit, you think? Deputy Commissioner Gorn also confirmed today that police rarely charge people caught with small amounts of illicit drugs, even prior to the new laws coming into effect. Then why the hell did you rail and rant and rave about it so badly beforehand? Because you wanted to have the discretion to be dickheads, would be my personal opinion. We very, very, very rarely arrest people and charge them for small possession of drugs. It happens maybe 20 times a year, so it's not significant and not a significant issue for us, he said. Again, then I would ask, why the hell was the wheel so damn squeaky? Because you did seem to make quite a big deal about that in the beginning. Though he reiterated it would still be illegal to be in possession of drugs after 28 October. Instead of someone going to court, the drugs will be seized and they'll be issued potentially with a fine or sent to a diversion program. Our officers basically have been trained in relation to how to issue the fine, how to work with ACT Health in relation to the diversion program, which they're already doing, and also then what we do in relation to the seizure of the drugs. I have no idea how I think we know that certain elements of evidence are going to go missing. Potentially. My own personal opinion. Not defamatory in any way, shape, or form. So, but I digress. But going from one university situation to another, University students reveal the items that they've been forced to ditch amongst the cost of living crisis. This is pretty messed up. Almost every Australian is feeling the pinch in the rising cost of living in one way or another, but some are feeling the pressure more than others. A typical university student already has to be careful with how they spend their money, with full-time study limiting their ability to earn income. Yes, or, like everybody else, you get a second job overnight, you sleep through your lectures, you record them, you do whatever else you have to. It's not a perfect system, but it's the only one we've got right now. A typical university student always... Yeah, got that. Now, with the cost of living, basically everything is rising, from groceries and petrol to rent and electricity. Staying within a budget means students are forced to cut out even more items and little luxuries. Sydney, it's called paying your dues, unfortunately. Look, the rest of us are already feeling the pinch. Oh, hang on. Tom Nash with a membership chat. Finally got a chance to watch the ZA stream from a couple of days ago, mate. Loved you and Vice's passion and what you've done to bring attention to it. Keep at it. It's a pet project. It really is. It's, you know, I mean, it was an absolute travesty and a disgrace. So yes, it's something that's very close to many people that have defense attorney ideals, shall we say. And you know what? I'd like to think that each and every one of you watching has a small amount of a defense attorney in you. If only because you've been watching me. Jesus, that was cheesy. But anyway. Students have revealed the common habits and purchases that have been forced to ditch in the wake of the rising costs. One of the most common answers was no longer being able to afford to buy food on campus. Buying lunch from uni, I just bring it from home. You should always be bringing lunch from home. What, just because you leave high school doesn't mean you should stop doing that. Wow, you got on Rumble finally? Red Eye, I've been on Rumble for like, what, 6-8 months? There's 300 and something live videos there. I've actually had to start meal prepping because it's just getting a bit too pricey to buy food here now, another student said. And they added that they had also had to sell their dirt bike and jet ski. I feel it in my heart. I had to sell my jet ski for the weekends. Oh, God. Even a simple indulgence like a packet of chips is now too pricey for some students. And look, this I agree with. Here we're going to get into some of the figures and some of the stats as to exactly how bad this is. Chips like the Red Rock Deli ones, because they're like $8 now for a packet of crisps about this big. And they used to be $4 or something like that. So I had to give those up, and it's been really hard. Coffee is another daily habit many young people say they've been forced to give up along with eating out. I don't even have a dirt bike or a jet ski. Yeah. Look, the coffee, I don't feel really any sympathy for, because a tin of coffee is like $5. Kettle, water, make your own, take it in a thermos. It's really that straightforward. I don't feel sympathy for these people paying $7 and $8 for a cup of coffee when they should be bringing their own. Everyone knows that the cost of living is hitting everybody hard right now. That's why I haven't been pushing hard for super chats or any shit like that, because I know everybody's feeling the squeeze right now. But please keep in mind, the Griff Stream Source Saturday will be coming up on the 28th of October. Like, you need to learn how to budget and crap. This is just not okay. Others say that they had to give up driving to university and instead catch the train, while other students say they can no longer afford things like gym memberships. Half the universities have on-campus gyms that you can use if you're a student. Nescafe instant lasts me months. Biden inflation. Yeah, yes, let's blame Biden for everything on the face of the planet. Actually, yeah, no, let's do that. Thank God you got the Law Perp hook too. Hopefully we'll get on the platform. That'd be nice. One student even offered some helpful advice to others. Give up your girlfriend, mate. That's probably the most expensive thing in your life. One student simply claimed she'd given up her future. I just live in the now, she added. But there are some items students say they simply can't live without, even with the cost of living. Major items being, of course, a laptop, with one student pointing out if you don't have a laptop, you can't do anything. No shit. All the work's done on a laptop. Others claim that their iPad was their one necessity, as it let them do things like draw and handwrite notes that can be saved digitally. They're more expensive, but I fully endorse the Surface Pros, the ones that are like half laptop, half tablet. I took mine with me to Texas, and I was able to stream from it. I was able to do work on it. And it's brilliant for note-taking in the office and that sort of thing. I actually use it in place of like printed instructions now. I'm writing down my notes on my Surface tablet as I go. Just cause, okay, wife for sale. Especially when most of the coffees are glorified milkshakes. Yes. One student claimed their headphones were the one thing they couldn't do without. What headphones are you buying? You can get a cheap set of Bluetooth headphones for $40. They don't have to be the brand new AirPods. They don't need to be the brand new Samsung Galaxy Buds Plus. Like, you don't need to spend $400 on a set of earphones. I'm still using a crackly pair of earphones that cost me like $20. Admittedly, I'm going to replace them with something half decent, but that's because I put in my dues, I worked my ass off, and this is where I am. I can afford to do so, and yes, we're still in a cost of living crunch. What's that? Chiseled jaw. Oh no! So don't pay thousands for tattoos. No, I'm starting to see whether or not I can grow in the full beard. So I've sort of like shaved here, so it might just look like there's a little bit more of a chisel to the jaw. You won't be seeing it for very long, so enjoy while you can. According to Flinders' recent cost of living report, while rising costs are being felt across the country, young Australians are struggling the most. Oh, sorry. Higher vulnerability from having lower savings has led to over half of Gen Zers feeling financially pressured to look for a second job. Get a side hustle, like everybody else. Well, 85% have had to reduce their spending due to the rising cost of living, and that is compared to 49% of baby boomers. It's still pretty. That's still pretty like shocking figures when you think about it. Like 85% of Gen Zers have had to stop living beyond their means, but so too have 49% of the baby boomers who supposedly control so much wealth in the country. Richard Whitten, money expert at Finder, told news.com.au that data clearly shows that young people are being the hardest hit by Australia's current economic situation. Our data clearly shows younger people are particularly hard hit when the cost of living, by the cost of living crunch. So yeah, so there you go. I own Raycon earphones and Cove headphones and both work better than Samsung and Apple. Well, there you go. Yes, Brad, we will be talking about OnlyFans because that's a continuing theme across a few stories today. So, but moving on. Wait, not that one because that was actually part of the OnlyFans stuff. Shit. Where are we? Okay, all right. So, you want to be an influencer. There's now a college degree for that. And shit, they call us grifters. Anyone can be an influencer now. Luck of the algorithm be damned. A first-of-its-kind major will now teach Spotlight hopefuls to the art of influencing and content creation in just 3 years. The catch? The uniquely Gen Z program is only available at the Southeast Technological Institute University in Carlo, Ireland. The college already offered Digital Hustle, a summer crash course taught by viral TikTokers and field experts. What the fuck is a field expert? Oh, Jesus. It was Ireland. I assumed it was someone standing out in a field. It just twigged what... Never mind. For the last 2 years, but couldn't adequately cover many of the facets of the industry like an undergraduate degree could. We knew there was a space and need for this. We just needed to develop the course into a bachelor's degree and get it ratified, said Irene McCormack, a senior lecturer at the university. Those who can't do teach, and those that teach things that are worthless. Yes, like a political science degree. Or as we say here, what do you say to somebody with an arts degree? Yes, I will have fries with that. The Bachelor of Arts degree promises prospective students the chance to turn their screen time hobby into a career by becoming experts in social media theory and use while learning how to connect with target demographics online. Have a great ass, decent tits, show ass and tits, key to influencer success. I'm not gonna lie. It's like... there are definitely certain individuals that get a bonus, shall we say. Bonerous. And a little bit of a leg up on social media, so... The major will take 40 tech-savvy students in its cohort next year, although McCormack is expecting many more to be turned away after the popularity of the university summer course. This to me sounds like one that could be pre-recorded and, like, taught quite easily, like, online. Yes, cleavage for the win. Cleavage thumbnail for the win. Yeah, look, I try not to use too much cleavage in the thumbnails unless it's like Kinky Corner or something like that. Maybe I need to, but I mean, YouTube's already getting pissed off at me for using clickbait titles, and all I'm doing is just like describing what the news articles are. So, schools such as USC, Cornell, Duke, and Chapman have offered one-off courses in influencer strategy, business communication, but Setu has become a pioneer as the first to dedicate an entire major to the job. One thing that's really good about teaching college classes is that I'm teaching digital natives. They live and breathe this stuff, said Tom Haffen, a brand manager in the digital age professor. What? A brand management in the digital age. Oh, okay, that's the name of the thing. Brand management in the digital age. That's his course. Professor at Columbia University. Rather than explaining execution like how to post on Instagram or piece together a TikTok, he can focus on the theories behind influencer advertising. If it jiggles, monetize it, except for thighs and bellies. Kurt has no problem using waifu in the thumbs. I did see that. Some of those, I'm impressed with how he manages to do some of those, honestly. The influencer marketing industry is valued at more than 21 billion with a B, and coupled with the rise of influencer culture has chronically, online youngsters see the opportunity job. What? More chronically, online youngsters see the entrepreneurial job title as an attainable prospect. I'm going to zoom this in because I'm really struggling here. In fact, more than half of the Gen Zers believe that they could easily make a lucrative career out of the content creation and digital product pushing. But not everyone can be an immediate success like Alex Earl or the infamous Tube Girl or the Aussie Overlaw'd. Yes, I do have my head up my ass enough that I can say that. Hence the Setu degree, which will supposedly help students strike gold in an internet-driven world. Yeah, I've yet to strike gold. But I'm very, very thankful to everybody here sitting and watching. And I'll take this opportunity to say, hey, by the way, double check whether or not you have liked the stream and whether or not you are still subscribed to the channel. I do suggest that you hit the notification button because what I understand is that roughly 10% of you have the actual notification turned on. And of that 10%, only 25% actually receive the notifications that YouTube sent out because YouTube only sends out notifications to that 10% that have that turned on at a 25% rate. So of 10% of my viewership, like, what is it, like 2.5% actually get sent notifications at all, let alone anything else? So what if the internet goes down? That's a damn good question. Okay. You might get lucky, but you won't understand why you're going viral. Oh, please. Most of the time, these people don't actually understand how to friggin' go viral anyway. I swear to God, I have wasted a good 100 or so hours watching different YouTube videos, watching different influencers talk about how they made YouTube go viral, or what you should do about this, or what you should do about that. And honestly, sometimes it just makes me want to poke my fucking eyes out. There's a ridiculous amount of pressure once you get to a certain level, and if you get inside your own head while being an influencer, which I feel like some of these people will when they do this course, it can be fucking devastating for your mental well-being. It really can. Instructors then must focus on the strategies behind content creation rather than the specific platforms themselves. Influencer marketing is the best thing we have in order to get people to think someone like me uses this product, the product is good for someone like me, said Haffen, who noted that the social media is the primary way of sharing information. How to go viral, try making something viral. Yeah, that's exactly what that's honestly, that is half of what the videos say. In recent years, there's been an increasing demand from employers for content creation, social media savvy Gen Z. So it's absolutely critical, particularly for entrepreneurs, but big companies are using it more and more, he noted to the Post. Cornell University Communications Professor Brooke Erin Duffy mused that preferences for remote work and maintaining control over their lives may be spurring the social media gold rush. Now more than ever, everyone wants to maintain a semblance of control over their lives. She told the Washington Post, and an influencer career promises an independent entrepreneurial career. Oh, Jim, hello. G'day, Hayden. You're the only Lord tuber that refuses to make me a mod, and it's really hurt my feelings until I remembered that Australia wasn't real. Well, Jim, given that you've actually spurred on a segment for today, maybe take that as in lieu of being a mod. So, I saw the argument you were having over that Daily Mail article, and we're going to discuss that because I'm very curious to see what people say in a poll. Where are we? But the race for the internet stardom may not be more than a pipe dream. Duffy cautioned that the prospects of success are no more than a mirage marketed by platforms despite an online environment of uncertainty and precarity. Who the hell still uses the word precarity? Specific platform-based training outdated almost immediate is making specific platform-based training outdated almost immediately. In other words, basically what they're saying is we know that this training and stuff on the specific platform moves fast enough that if we focus it on Facebook, on YouTube, on Rumble, on Twitter, by the time they get through the actual course, it's all going to be outdated anyway. That is hilarious. Way to say the quiet part out loud. Any program that tries to bill itself as a space to learn about the industry is really going to have to focus on higher level concepts. But influencing or content creation is much more than staying on top of trends and knowing how to utilize platforms. Dylan Huey, CEO of Reach, an on-campus organization for student creators, said it's more than just making TikToks. It's more akin to managing your own business with finances and taxes. I think that we're still so in the terms of so early in the terms of the amount of classes that should be taught for influencers and for social media and that landscape. I get that they just need to. Okay, I know that they're quoting somebody, but they could have cleaned the quote up. It's very cool just to see universities that are starting to understand the value of a creative economy and the impact in the entertainment industry as a whole. You don't need a degree for this. It's a scam. It's a trap, is what it is. It's a trap. Shit. I think I got rid of it. Damn, I still need to actually clean up the backstage. Oh, no, there it is.
It's a trap!
It's a debt trap, is what it is. Did the Budweiser advertising executive do this course? Possibly. I have no idea where the hell that moron would be now. Like, you know. But speaking more about social media, I just wanted to quickly touch on this one. Elon Musk's Diablo 4 play isn't bad, but his Twitter livestream sure was, according to Kotaku. Elon Musk followed up on a September proclamation that he'd test out video game streaming on X with a run-through on Diablo 4's most difficult Tier 100 Nightmare Dungeon. On October 2, the stream was an unprecedented success in the sense that it happened with, well, as far as I can tell, zero race baiting. Wow. Wow. Hang on. So you're saying that everything that he does is race baiting, and in the second sentence of your article, you bring up race baiting because there was no race baiting. Dude. Holy shit. No, Jim, I get it. Don't worry. I fully have your back, mate. However, the pervasive technical difficulties make it unlikely that X will soon be a serious streaming platform. I disagree with that. Half the time I stream directly to Twitter. At the moment, I'm not doing it because I'm trying to bring in as many viewers onto specific platforms, both YouTube and Rumble, without splitting viewership across various places, so I can keep track of analytics, see what you guys do and don't like. The analytics for Twitter are not quite as robust, shall we say, as either YouTube or even Rumble. So I prefer to know exactly what people like, what they don't like, so I can sort of tailor the show a little bit. Because half the time I wake up and I'm having an identity crisis. So the more that everything is racist and so are you, fuck you, Marty. Musk made a burner account to troubleshoot Twitter's streaming capabilities for an hour and to debut his lighting setup, a few candles in an otherwise unlit room for atmosphere, he said about the candles. His character, named I Will Never Die, though Musk died 3 times in the later Diablo stream on his main account, once because he got annihilated by bursting blood blisters. Oh, the blood blisters are a pain in the ass when you're doing Nightmare Dungeons. That and the rock that follows you around is just... So for anyone that doesn't know, once you get through Diablo 4, you can go and do Nightmare Dungeons, which is basically Each of the dungeons becomes extra hard. They place extra requirements on you, extra debuffs, so they make things specifically harder. You know, they may increase your vulnerability to poison. They may increase your vulnerability to fire damage or to undead damage or whatever else. They give you a certain buff, so maybe healing potions work a little bit better, or maybe you've got thorns damage or whatever else. But they give you these weird and wacky things that add to the extra level of difficulty. The floor periodically may explode in lava. A rock follows you around and you can't stop it. It will follow you around and you cannot kill it, and it shoots electricity at you. Or, periodically, like every 30 seconds, lightning may rain down from the sky and you have to get inside a bubble to protect yourself. Patrick's starting to get a little loopy. Tesla's up 6%. No shit. So... Oh, of course he's a werewolf druid. Damn it. He uses mostly earth skills like Claw and Earth and Bulwark Shield, and he wields gear that complements the Stormwolf build, as well as the Great Staff of the Crone. I wouldn't necessarily have gone with the Great Staff of the Crone, but anyway. Of course, someone's calling them sensible picks. But where is he streaming from? A crypt? Aside from Musk's questionable room lighting, his practice stream looked and sounded alright. On his official stream, though, he fretted over whether or not he sounded like a chipmunk. He did. The stream upped the sound frequency by 4 kilohertz, he said on Twitter. The screen flickered lazily like Musk's tall 2-wicked candle, making Musk's silent gameplay near unwatchable. Okay, let's have a quick look. How can you... Oh, I suppose if he's using the Vine, fair enough. Wow, yeah, okay. Let's move on from that. Unlike Twitch and YouTube, Twitter doesn't have live comments, which only subscribers can leave on the screen. So Musk would also sometimes drop the game entirely to giggle at his phone. Chat room too full, ha ha ha, he said. At the end of the play session, Musk noted that Twitter has a lot of things to improve in its streaming. Yes, it does. You might wonder how Musk finds spare time to grind a level 100 in Diablo, manage his plethora of businesses, and find time to be a good father to his 11 or so children. I don't think he does, according to this author. Court records from September 29 indicate that Musk's ex-girlfriend and mother of at least 3 of his children, Grimes, sued him for parental rights, and, well, Twitter's as ruined as a Diablo dungeon. Wow, that was friggin' brutal. Sorceress Supreme? Let's face it. I out of habit, I've played Druid since Diablo 2, the expansion, so that's really, I'm just... I don't go into other people's streams and drop things trying to move them to other streams. Why do people do it to me? They're just assholes. Alright. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Literally. Judge at Trump's New York civil fraud trial slams hand on bench, loses his cool during testimony. This is ridiculous. I'll tell you what's ridiculous, Your Honor. You losing your cool during a trial. The Manhattan judge deciding Donald Trump's $250 million fraud trial lost his cool on Wednesday, slamming his hand on the bench and snapping, "This is ridiculous," as the former president's lawyers grilled his ex-accountant over inconsistent testimony. The judge's annoyed reaction came after Trump's side claimed that Donald Bender, a partner at the accounting firm Mars USA, were evading their questions. The attorneys also had to repeatedly insist that he needed to meticulously go through his financial records with Bender year by year. "Don't waste time," the Manhattan Supreme Court Justice said sternly. Yeah, because he just wants to get around to finding him guilty. Trump attorney Jesus Suarez had spent part of Tuesday afternoon and all of Wednesday morning cross-examining Bender and said he would like to continue with the questioning throughout the end of the day. "This is ridiculous," he said, hitting his hand on the bench. "Mr. Bender is not on trial here," he reminded the lawyers. He may well have been if he was the one that's providing a reasonable doubt for the inconsistencies in Trump's records. That's some bullshit. Yeah, pretty much. "I've already ruled you guilty. Stop wasting my time with facts." Another Trump attorney, Christopher Keese, said that the only things Bender seemed to recall are what the government wants him to recall. Oh, and this picture pissed me right off. Him smirking at the camera as well. How long do you reckon it'll be till his book deal comes out after this? We need to be allowed to pass the evidence. We didn't bring the case, he argued. Alina Harbour, also a Trump lawyer, chimed in, we haven't got one answer from him. He has no memory as we sit here. Keith conceded that they would try to streamline the cross-examination before the judge reiterated, let's not waste time. Over the course of testimony on Wednesday, the third day of the trial, in which New York Attorney General Letitia James's lawsuit... What? In the third day of the trial in New York... Yep, okay. Engeron checked Trump's legal team twice more, at one point suggesting they were pandering to the press and carrying out their defense as if a jury was present. Do I need to point out that a case should not be run any differently for the most part, whether there's a jury in place or not? You are basically admitting you have already ruled as to how you've already determined his guilt, and you don't care what they have to say. Oh, and as for, like, pandering to the media, just gonna sit that out there. There is no jury here, he said at one point during the questioning of Bender, reportedly prompting an exasperated response from Trump, 77, who threw his arms in the air while sitting with his attorneys at the defense table. Who are you talking to? Me, the press, or the audience? The judge asked Keith at another point. You sanctimonious, disingenuous, biased prick. Similarly, a lawyer of the Attorney General's office was shocked to hear that Bender would be questioned by Trump's side for the rest of the day. There's no jury. I don't know who you're performing for, the attorney said. The 2024 Republican presidential frontrunner, who has chosen to attend the trial since it kicked off in Lower Manhattan on Monday, left for Florida after Wednesday's lunch break. Trump was slated to go straight to the airport to head to Mar-a-Lago, a source said to the outlet. It's not immediately clear if or when Trump would return to court, though he has said that he would testify should he be called to the witness stand. When James, who has attended the whole trial so far, returned from lunch, he said that the Trump show is over. James said Trump's appearance at the civil trial, when he's not required to attend, unlike in criminal cases, was a political stunt and a fundraising stop. I will not be bullied, the Attorney General said of the former president's repeated personal attacks on her. Justice will be served. If justice is going to be served, you're going to be kicked out of office. But no, that won't happen because it's New York. Enrigan seemed in a lighter mood after the lunch break and cracked a joke about Attorney General Kevin Wallace's birthday, saying, "Today is a very important day." In the afternoon, the AG's office interrupted Bender's testimony to take a witness out of turn. Cameron Harris, an auditor for the accounting firm at Whitley Penn, who handled Trump's books in 2020, testified in the afternoon that the client's responsible for the statement of financial condition, documents which James claims Trump lied on from 2011 through to 2021. Harris testified that Eric Trump, another defendant in the case who was present in the courtroom in the morning, set the tone at the top for the board of trustees of the Trump organization. Bender continued testifying after Harris's testimony wrapped. Trump's appearance at the 60 Center Street courthouse prompted protesters to come out in force on Monday morning, even blocking the street outside. The former president has taken every opportunity in front of press and on social media to bash the case, the Attorney General, the judge, even the judge's clerk, which prompted him to issue a limited gag order on Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, I really don't agree with that either. Coming into court on Wednesday, the 45th president went on a 3-minute rant, ripping James for allegedly using the prosecution against him in a failed bid for governor in the Empire State. This is railroading, and it's the beginning of communism in our country, he said in the tirade. He also didn't rule out the possibility of becoming the next Speaker of the House after calls for some Republicans following the ousting of Kevin McCarthy on Tuesday. I did see that on Twitter. Oh my God, could you imagine what would happen? James is an activist, not an attorney general. Damn straight. Upon leaving, Trump rambled for several minutes after saying the case was rigged. It definitely feels that way to an outside observer. The defense filed a notice of appeal on Wednesday after his bombshell ruling from last week, siding with the Attorney General on one of her main claims that Trump should be liable for fraud. The decision also cancelled Trump's business licenses in the state. The Attorney General's office argued in opening statements that Trump exaggerated his assets for years to get an edge on loans and insurance, and also for his vanity's sake so that he could afford to climb Forbes' list of billionaires. Trump has subsequently been dropped from the list. Trump's lawyers argued that their client paid back all of the loans that he took out for the Trump organization, and the banks made millions off of his business. Yeah, this is some absolute bullshit. I actually can't believe that it's even a case where the Attorney General of a state can actually even bring a civil case like this against someone for this. Where are we? All right, I don't think I'll bother going through the Daily Mail article as well. Don't think there's any real need to. Speaking of court decisions, a Northern Territory remote community of Laramba celebrates a legal win in a landmark Supreme Court case. The Northern Territory Supreme Court has ruled the Territory's housing department is responsible for supplying safe drinking water to its tenants in a how is this a landmark decision? The housing department is responsible for maintenance of properties. That generally includes whether or not there is safe drinking water attached to the land. In the landmark decision that could help provide a legal redress to Indigenous communities across Australia. In 2019, residents in the remote Central Australian community of Laramba, about 200 kilometres west of Alice Springs, so right in the centre of the Red Desert, in the middle of butt-fuck nowhere, took the Northern Territory Housing Department to the Civil Tribunal over concerns about uranium levels in their drinking water. Data compiled by the... hang on, wait, what? Okay. Hang on. I may have to revisit what I just said. If the water is coming from a natural source, like if there's no viable water source in the area, why are you even living there? Data compiled by the NT's Power and Water Corporation has shown that there was 0.046 milligrams of uranium per litre in the community's water supply, close to 3 times the level recommended in national guidelines. The following year, the Civil Tribunal ruled that the public housing landlord was not legally required to provide safe drinking water to its tenants. But on Monday, that decision was overturned by the Northern Territory Supreme Court. Okay. If the water being supplied... Because technically, the water safety should be supplied by the Power and Water Corporation. If the water that's being supplied through the pipes, as far as I'm concerned, then the public housing landlord should only have to make sure that the pipes and everything are connected to the land. That is not how they made it sound. If the water itself being pumped through is an issue, that's on the Power and Water Company. But on Monday, the decision was overturned. Daniel Kelly, a solicitor for the Australian Lawyers for Remote Aboriginal Rights, represented members of the Laramba community during the proceedings. He said the decision would have implications not just for Laramba, but also for the estimated 250,000 Indigenous Australians across Australia who currently do not have reliable access to safe and healthy drinking water. I'm sorry, what now? You think that a case out of the Northern Territory Supreme Court is going to have any impact on any of the other states? It may be persuasive precedent, but it's certainly not specific that they need to follow it. For more than a decade, no government department took responsibility or accepted liability for the water that they delivered to remote Aboriginal communities, nor should they. If there is a private or public company that is the one supplying the water, they're responsible for the water quality. What are you saying, that a landlord now has to supply bottles of water? Remote tenants will now be able to demand their water quality be improved if it does not meet safety standards and seek recourse for any health impacts caused by unsafe drinking water. So just turn off the pipes, at least until the water company fixes things up. The Laramba community has welcomed the NT Supreme Court decision. I fucking wonder why. It marks another win for the community in its efforts to secure safe drinking water after the opening of a water treatment plant there in April following years of advocacy. We celebrate the opening of our water treatment plant and the court case results showcase our residents raising their voice, the community spokesperson Adrian Dixon said. Although the court made no findings about the quality of the drinking water, Mr. Dixon said that the community members had previously had concerns about the health impacts of consuming it. A lot of our elders got sick, he said. Some of them got really sick so that they got transferred to Alice Springs for kidney disease. And also our babies were getting sick as well. But he acknowledged that for many other communities, the fight for safe drinking water was far from over. For us, it took all of these years for us to get to this state and win the case. For the other communities, keep fighting the fight you truly believe in. The government itself is reviewing the decision. The Northern Territory government has indicated it may challenge the Supreme Court decision. I would fully expect them to do so. It is holding the government liable for something that a private corporation is responsible for. In a statement, the Territory Families Housing and Community spokesperson said the department was currently reviewing the ruling to properly consider the next steps. As the decision is still under review, it is inappropriate to comment further on this at this stage. According to Mr. Kelly, if the NT government did appeal the decision, it would demonstrate that they're not taking responsibility. No! And I'm not saying they should take responsibility. It's literally the company that is providing the water to the property that is responsible for the quality of the water. I'm surprised they even just found that they had privity to bring this case against them. This is... Access to clean and safe drinking water is a very basic human right. Yes, that I believe. But I also do not believe that remaining in the middle of the country where there is no access to water entitles you to a right to government-funded water to be provided to you. That's... I do think there's a little bit of give and take in the level of responsibility there. And we should expect that of our governments. Well... Alright, let's move on to something a little bit weirder, shall we? A Chicago woman, 104, skydives from a plane, aiming for a record as the world's oldest skydiver. Just cause forgot the like button. Smash that like button, people. Especially those of you over on Rumble too. I appreciate you, but there is 24 of you watching, and 9 have hit the button. The building owner knew about the issue and didn't report it or work to fix it. No, that's a different scenario altogether than what they're claiming. Poor bastard, their main water source was the estrogen birth control runoff. Ugh. No disheartening nearby? No. Hang on. So I can clip it later. Chicago woman, 104, skydives from plane, aiming for a record as the world's oldest skydiver. A 104-year-old woman from Chicago is hoping to be certified as the oldest person to ever skydive after leaving her walker on the ground and making a tandem jump in northern Illinois. I don't believe she should get the record if it's a tandem jump. Let me see that chick dive out of the plane on her own. Age is just a number, said Dorothy Hoffner to a cheering crowd moments after touching down back on Sunday at the Skydive Chicago in Ottawa. Okay. About 85 miles southwest of Chicago. The Guinness World Record for the oldest skydiver was set in May 22 by a 103-year-old Linnea Ingard Larsson from Sweden. But Skydive Chicago is working to have the Guinness World Record certify that Hoffner's jump as the record. Hoffner first skydived when she was 100. On Sunday, she left her walker behind just short of the plane, a sky van, and was helped to the steps to join others waiting inside to skydive. Let's go, Geronimo! She said as she was finally seated. When she first skydived, she had said that she had to be pushed out of the aircraft. But on Sunday, tethered to a US Parachute Association certified instructor, Hoffner insisted on leading the jump from 13,500 feet. She looked calm and confident when on the plane, and its aft door opened to reveal the tan crops far below, shortly before she shuffled toward the edge and leapt into the air. She tumbled out of the plane headfirst, completing a perfect forward roll in the sky before falling stable in free fall with her belly facing the ground. And now all I've got is the picture of Jasper from The Simpsons when he jumps off of the high board in the swimming competition, and like all his skin flaps out and he falls down like a flying fox. It's just... The dive lasted 7 minutes, including a parachute slow descent to the ground. Coming into land, the wind pushed her white hair back and she clung to the harness with her over her narrow shoulders, picked up her legs and plopped safely onto the grassy landing area. Friends rushed to share their congratulations, while some brought over her red walker. She rose quickly and she was asked how it was felt to be back on the ground. Wonderful, she said, but it was wonderful up there. The whole thing was delightful, wonderful, it couldn't have been better. What if she'd had a freaking heart attack or something? Like, the lifelong Chicago woman who was set to turn 105 in December said she might take a ride in a hot air balloon next. I've never been in one of those. If she is strapped to some guy and she has a heart attack mid-air, surely that's happened. Surely someone has jumped out of the plane fully alive and then landed dead. Zero Max twirling the mustache. Don't go getting any ideas. Okay, this one's purely just for the shock value. Police vans crushed in freak accident on the N2 highway in Cape Town. Look at this. It went under a semi-trailer. Mulberry police are investigating the cause of a container truck that overturned, injuring 9 people on the N2 highway in Cape Town. Motorists were travelling on the N2 highway between Jan Smuts Drive and Rappenberg Road. Are you serious? Who the hell named this? You've got Jan Smuts and what could accurately be pronounced as Rappenberg Road. On Monday morning, were exposed to a ghastly sight when a truck carrying a shipping container overturned on the road. According to bystanders, the truck had been driving alongside 3 police vehicles when it overturned. The truck's yellow container flattened 1 police van and severely damaged the 2 others. Police spokesperson Joseph Swartboy said in response to the incident that Mowbray police had registered a case of reckless and negligent driving for further investigation. Please note that in the circumstances surrounding the incident, Please note that the circumstances surrounding the incident are still under investigation. However, we can confirm that 9 victims sustained injuries earlier today. I'm shocked that there weren't any deaths. The tragic incident occurred just before 11 a.m. involving several police vans. How the hell the police officers survived? And that's a paddy wagon van as well. Imagine if there were... Oh, wait, is it? Yeah, it is, because it's got the air thing on the thing. Imagine if there'd been a suspect, an alleged criminal in the back of that thing. Holy shit. Is it near Something Wong Drive? Something Wong Drive? Maybe. Oh no. A cartel murders their own boss by mistake. The hitman then turns the gun on himself after realizing his error. Probably because he realized that was going to be a lot nicer than what would happen to him. A blundering drug cartel hitman have reportedly murdered their own boss in a shocking case of mistaken identity. The shootout took place at a private health clinic in Colocan, Mexico last Thursday night. The Sinaloa cartel gunman, loyal to the Los Chapitos, the son of the infamous drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, are thought to have been at the hospital guarding another man who was receiving treatment. A gunfight broke out when another armed man showed up. According to the El Blog de Narco, that man was the elusive L22, thought to have been a gangster responsible for running the cartel's operations in Guamachil, Sinaloa. That's not great. That's the bad thing about not knowing the boss, a source said. It was thought that L22 was visiting the clinic in order to pay for the wounded man's surgery. The gunman assumed that he was a rival hitman coming to finish off the job. 4 men died in the fighting, including Dr. Othniel Montoya, who was caught in the crossfire. That sucks. One of the hitmen who killed his own boss required medical attention when the fighting came to an end. It was reported that he used a gun on himself after realizing his fatal mistake, choosing to take his own life rather than face whatever gruesome punishment the cartel would have in store for him. Videos have since emerged on social media purporting to show L22's funeral. In them, flower displays are seen alongside the name of El Chapo's sons, with the big bosses clearly keen to show their respect. That sucks. Mainly because the doctor was killed. I mean, he knew that the cartel would torture him. Yes. He very much knew that. Oh, and from one shooting to another, 5 people were wounded in a shooting after a homecoming event at Morgan State University in Baltimore. I believe this was the major thing. A shooting interrupted a homecoming week celebration at Baltimore's Morgan State University on Tuesday, wounding 5 people and prompting an hours-long lockdown at the historically black college. Students hunkered down for several hours as police went room to room looking for suspects, and no arrests were made. The police commissioner, Richard Worley, said the 5 victims, 4 men and 1 woman, were between the ages of 18 and 22. Their injuries were not life-threatening, he told reporters in a conference on early Wednesday. There you go, Marty. The conference did take place. Morgan State Police Chief Lance Hatcher said that 4 of the victims are students at the university. The police did not release information about the suspect or suspects, and Worley said that the investigators did not know how many shooters were involved. So the cops doing a bang-up job there. The shooting happened shortly after the coronation of Mr. and Miss Morgan State at the Murphy Fine Arts Center as students were heading to a campus ball. A police news release said officers responded to a report of a shooting at around 9:25 p.m. Connor Crowder, a sophomore at Baltimore, said that he and his friends had been waiting for the coronation ball to start when they saw people running. At first I was wondering what was going on, then I was wondering where we should go. Well, he said police heard gunshots and several dorm windows shattered. so officials initially thought there was an active shooter on campus and acted accordingly. He said they ended the shelter-in-place order at around 12:30 a.m. after SWAT officers cleared a building where a suspect was feared to be hiding. Shortly after midnight, dozens of students wearing gowns and suits started trickling out of the arts center where they'd been waiting. Many were trying to process the chaos and the fear that overwhelmed an evening of festivities. Fuck you, waiting for an hour. I know. See you, Dork. Orange evidence markers are visible on the ground in front of the building next to the dorm where the shooting occurred. Yellow crime tape encircled the areas the officers used officers used flashlights to search for evidence. Parents gathered around outside the police blockade at the south entrance to the campus. James Willoughby, a Morgan State alum whose daughter is a freshman, said he wasn't leaving until he had laid eyes on her. "I'm going to be here until I can physically see her," he said. "I don't blame you, sir. I would feel the same way if my daughter was there." Glenmore Blackwood came to the campus after hearing from his son, a senior who told him that a shooting occurred just as the coronation was concluding. Blackwood said his son was in the Arts Center auditorium. He sang in the ceremony and was planning to host a prayer service afterwards. "That's my son. He's going to make sure I know he's okay. It's just sad. They were doing a good thing, an event to promote positivity, and all this negativity happens." Morgan State University President David Wilson said he had cancelled Wednesday's classes and would hold an emergency meeting Wednesday morning to decide whether to hold other events planned for the run-up to the school's homecoming game, which is scheduled to be played on Saturday. It's unfortunate this tragedy happened here tonight, and by no means will it define who we are as a university. The university, which has around 9,000 students, was founded in 1867 as a centenary biblical institute, with an initial mission of training men for ministry, according to its website. It moved to its current site in the northeast of Baltimore in 1917 and was purchased by the state of Maryland in 1939 as it aimed to provide more opportunities for black citizens. Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott noted recent declines in the city's homicide rate and said the shooting on Tuesday indicates the need for national gun reform. Of course, they're going to hop on that as a thing for gun reform. Who's shocked? We have to deal with this issue nationally. We have to get serious about these guns. Billy says, "Hold my beer. We didn't ever have reporters who'll cover us alive." Oh, Jesus. Oh, Christ. Okay. Now, we do have to go to one more shooting. This one, however, is a little bit more different because this one's just a fuck around and find out and you're a freaking moron. The act was not very smart, says wedding officiant who accidentally shot a 12-year-old with a blank fired by a revolver in an effort to corral the crowd and get everyone's attention. The dumbass had a gun, thought it had blanks in it, and pointed at his 12-year-old grandson. Moron. Sometimes you don't want to hold them like they do in Texas. A Lone Star State man officiating a wedding in Nebraska over the weekend accidentally shot his grandson in the shoulder as the elder man pulled out a revolver to corral the crowd and begin the ceremony, according to Lancaster County Sheriff's Office. Why would you think that using a firearm to corral anybody would be a good idea? It is still illegal to fire a weapon into the air. Reckless discharge. Speaking of which, we'll get to the OnlyFans story soon. Michael Gardner, 62, stands accused of one count of child abuse for negligently firing his Pieta 1860 snub-nosed revolver, authorities say. "We ended up learning that a gentleman who was officiating the wedding decided to gain everybody's attention and start the wedding with a bang," said Lancaster County Sheriff's Office Chief Deputy Ben Houchin. Houchin said that Gardner had simply intended to fire a blank into the air in order to get everybody's attention to come up to the wedding. When he decided to cock the hammer back of the revolver, it slipped and shot his grandson in the left shoulder, causing an injury. Oh, no shit. We have a super chat. Thank you very much, John Gordon. Alec Baldwin? First time? No, not my first time. Oh, thank you very much for the super chat. I very much appreciate that. The deputy later mimicked the motion of the person pulling their gun from their holster and how the action could result in an accidental discharge, with disastrous results for anyone immediately nearby, like where Gardner's grandson was standing at the time. The defendant's 12-year-old grandson had to be transported to 2 hospitals to deal with the gunshot wounds, said the sheriff's office, but the boy's injuries are not considered life-threatening. But Gardner had actually fired a blank, according to authorities. So the kid was just standing close enough that the discharge from the blank has caused him a significant injury. It was a blank, Huchin said in response to a question from the local reporter. What it was a 45 Colt ammunition. What he did was put black powder into the casing and then glued it. And what we believe is that the glue is what injured the child. Law enforcement recovered the weapon, the spent casing, and the ammunition. They managed to recover the glue. Oh, that's funny. At least he didn't kill anyone. Yeah, but it sounds like it was a very close thing. I mean, anyway, playing with firearms, no matter what, if they're blanks, bad things can certainly happen. Yeah, because when dumbasses think they have blanks in the weapon, people die. Right, Alec? The deputy reiterated that the investigation determined the shooting was accidental and that alcohol was not involved. We do not believe that Michael intended to hurt his grandchild, but the act was not very smart. Without giving an exact number of attendees, the deputy said that there were a bunch of people at the Hillside Events facility on the day in question. The defendant said someone forgot the ring, so the wedding was delayed by roughly 45 minutes, resulting in crowds of people dispersing and milling around all over the place, and that's what prompted him to try and loudly get their attention. What? You have people randomly milling about, dispersing across a property, and you want to get all of their attention by firing a gunshot. Yeah. No. Just no. All guns are always loaded, all guns are always real. Exactly. It was pretty warm on Sunday too, Hutchins said. The deputy defended the child abuse charge despite the accidental nature of the incident, due to the seriousness of the injuries, the use of the firearm, and because of how neglectful the defendant had been. The defendant also said the facts fit the statute, but added that it was ultimately up to the county attorney if charges are pursued. Gardner was briefly booked into the local jail, but is no longer listed as an inmate by Lancaster County Department of Corrections. Yeah, so how long did the wedding get delayed after the shooting the gun? It doesn't actually specify whether or not they actually got married. Yeah, it got their attention, but, I mean, to be fair, how many people would have gone, oh shit, active shooter, duck and cover? Like, I don't know. You assholes are ruining range day. We shoot at each other with real bullets. Oh, no. Just, oh, no. Okay. All right. Moving. Oh, I forgot about this one too. Florida boy 11 shoots teenagers after a row at American football practice. An 11-year-old boy has been arrested after shooting a pair of 13-year-olds after a fight at an American football practice in Central Florida. After a physical fight, the attacker retrieved a gun from his mother's car and fired a single shot. Both victims were stable after being hit by the same bullet. He just waited for them to be lined up in a row, you know? One was struck in the arm, the other in the torso, requiring surgery. The boy faces a charge of attempted second-degree murder. Some adults would probably also be charged as the firearm was not properly stored in a locked box, said Apopka Police Chief Mike McKinley. In the news conference on Tuesday morning, McKinley described the previous night's incident as at the Northwest Recreation Complex as not good. As not good. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Yeah, it was one of the JFK bullets. We shouldn't have 11-year-olds who have access to guns and think they can resolve a dispute with a firearm, he said. McKinley said similar shootings were happening way too often and that the children managing to get their hands on the firearms appeared to be getting younger every day. That was the other news article that I couldn't find. There was something in the New York Post about how there's kids as young as like 7 through 10 going in and robbing stores and shit and literally saying, I do it because I know I can get away with it because the cops can't touch me, I'm just a kid. I know, phrasing, but still. In the news conference on Tuesday, he said, not good. McKinley said similar shootings were still happening way too often. But he described the incident as a first which went far beyond the touchline scuffles sometimes seen between parents at youth sports fixtures. It was not clear what led to the initial altercation, which occurred during a Pop Warner football practice. Pop Warner, named after the famed college coach, describes itself as the nation's leading youth football, cheerleading, and dancing organization. The dispute between the trio moved from the sports facility itself to the car park before the attacker retrieved the weapon from his mother's vehicle. Officers arrived about 4 minutes later, soon after 8:20 local time. The victim, who was hit in the arm, was treated and released from the hospital the same night, while the victim hit in the torso was in a stable condition after undergoing surgery. Neither they nor the attacker have been named for legal reasons. Yeah, that's the reason. That's why they didn't name them. It was over a bag of chips. Sounds like the older boys were bullying him, quite possibly. Now that is what I'm talking about. Brass ain't cheap. 2 holes, 1 shot. This shit is just efficient. Jesus Christ, Patrick. Shouldn't it have gone faster? But the wedding. Shouldn't the wedding have gone faster? Shotgun wedding? Got you. Even if I looked at my dad's gun, if I even looked at my dad's gun, he'd whoop my ass. Yeah, and that's really the way that it should be. From one stupid kid to another. New Florida law requires minors to have at least a learner's license to drive golf carts. The fuck? A new law that takes effect on October 1st requires minors to have at least a learner's permit in order to drive golf carts in Florida. Damn it! Driving a golf cart was one of the funnest things ever, and it was one of the few things you were allowed to do outside driving a go-kart, which you still weren't allowed to do if you were under a certain age. Elizabeth Zapta says the frequency of seeing kids driving golf carts, says she frequently sees golf carts being driven by kids in Wellington. They don't know how to stop, she explained. They just don't know how to respect the stop signs. They keep on going. The law, House Bill 949, was approved by Governor Ron DeSantis back in May. Of course it was. Under the bill, golf cart drivers under the age of 18, must be at least 15 with a learner's permit or 16 with a driver's license. Wellington student Santiago Castano is a long way from driving himself, but thinks it's a good idea. I see all these crosswalks and the signs of walking. Whenever I walk by, I see these guys just going around at the golf court. They don't even stop at a red light. Golf carts at Wellington are a way that Wellington residents avoid school traffic. Village leaders passed their own ordinance to increase safety regulations for golf cart usage. Wellington Vice Mayor Michael Napoleon, said he's happy to see the state getting on board. I think it's smart of the state to realise that just age alone does not qualify you to drive a golf cart because you're driving a vehicle on the road and should have some sort of training, minimal level of training, before you're allowed to do that. If you don't abide by the new state law, the penalty is a non-criminal traffic infraction with a fine of $108. There you go, kids. Save up your pocket money. For just $108, you too can drive a golf cart irrespective of your age. That is not legal advice. On private golf courses, it is only a recommendation to stop at stop signs. Okay, where are we? Oh shit, we're already an hour 7 in. Fuck. Okay. Alright, I'll save Mr. Lambo for tomorrow. Fleeting headlines. Work has started on turning Adolf Hitler's birthplace in Austria into a police station. Firefighters in the US had to rush to put out a house fire, and it turned out to be some amazing Halloween decor. Don't do this. Like, if you do, put up a sign saying it's decoration. A bold monkey has stolen a bottle of whiskey from bikers to chug on National No Drinking Day. Hang on, is there footage of this? There it is. There's the monkey with the bottle of alcohol. Okay, now we're getting into the OnlyFans stuff. Here we go. Just have to do that just in case. Yes, call your local fire department, let them know you have decorations that may look like fire. That works. Florida man faces charges in village's black market erectile dysfunction drug case. Does this look like a man that needs erectile dysfunction medication? Yes, it does. A man from the villages is facing a year in prison after allegedly stockpiling erectile dysfunction medication and is accused of planning to distribute them, according to local 10's Orlando news partner WKMG. Federal prosecutors say Reginald Kinser, 77, had more than $1,800 in erectile dysfunction drugs sent to him, which he got without a prescription from a licensed doctor. The Justice Department says Kinser planned to distribute the drugs locally and outside of Florida. According to the charging document, the drugs were found during a search of his home by the Department of Homeland Security while executing a search warrant in 2018. No information was provided as to why he was facing why he's facing them now. A trial is expected to happen in November. He could face up to a year in federal prison and a fine of up to $10,000 if found guilty. That's why they're trying him now. The feds are running out of money and they want to fine him the 10 grand. It's not his first drug arrest. He was arrested back in 2020 for possession of several drugs, including marijuana, MDMA, and psilocybin. He was found guilty in 2021 and given 3 years probation. Oh, shit. Oh, no. 2020, 21, 22, 23. Depending on when he received he may just be clear on the probation, depending on when he received the thing. Either that or he's going to be just inside. That's hilarious. Oh no, 2021. Shit, sorry. He's just screwed himself over with his own probation. So he's got up to a year in prison and he's going to get 3 years. He's going to be in for 3 years. Wait, what's that? This week in South Florida. They do a video about this now? Oh, no, I'm not. Never mind. Okay. Y'all ready for this? New York cop sues after male supervisor allegedly asks if she got an upgrade on her boobs. A cop in Union County, New Jersey, has sued her own department for sexual harassment after a male supervisor allegedly asked if she'd gotten an upgrade on her boobs because they were looking larger. The 47-year-old officer, who works for the Union Township Police Department, said she'd been harassed and humiliated by other cops since she ended an intimate relationship with a colleague in 2014. So don't have an intimate relationship with a colleague. Don't dip your pen in the company ink and don't fuck on company time. It's very freaking straightforward. Her police beau had allegedly lied to her about being married. He's a dick too. But he continued to pursue the victim, who was not being identified by a New Jersey advance, until she called his wife, according to the September lawsuit. Then she learned that other officers had started rumors that she was sleeping with a detective lieutenant, even though she rejected his advances. She reported the rumors, but the police and town officials did nothing, the lawsuit said, and it's alleged that the abuse continued. The conduct was so severe and pervasive, enough to make a reasonable woman believe that the conditions of employment had been altered and the working environment was hostile or abusive, according to the state Superior Court lawsuit. She attributed the abusive work environment to her gender and detailed the number of other pervy actions her fellow cops took during her years there. A female officer has In the fall of 22, the officer said that she asked a male co-worker how she could get more work on the side. The co-worker allegedly motioned that as he was like he was unbuckling his belt and pants. I'll take stupid shit that should never have happened for 200, Alex. Another time, a male supervisor walked into her office and asked if she got an upgrade on her boobs because they were looking larger. A different cop asked her repeatedly if she would take her boobs out. The victim also claimed she was denied promotions, hounded about her compensatory time, and hit with bogus administrative charges relating to her side jobs. What are your side jobs? What is your side job? Excuse me. Abusive work environment, didn't she just say she was sleeping around at work? Yes, but apparently she hasn't done so since 2014. That was 9 years ago to her, so... The town attorney, Daniel Antonelli, wouldn't comment to the outlet about the suit, but said the officer's accusations deserve a serious review. The township has already begun and completed some internal reviews and will continue to ensure our department performs to the highest standards. Another time in November 2021, the officer said she learned that the deputy chief allegedly had 2 cops and a civilian employee bring a seized snowblower from the evidence room to his parents' house for the winter. So now she's just snitching on everybody too. Yeah, side jobs, wink wink. That's sort of my question. I mean, that's not really being alluded to here, but it's a reasonable inference in the circumstances. Particularly given the next story we're going to talk about. She tried to report it, but was allegedly yelled at by a lieutenant for saying anything at all. Then she was ordered to say that the snowblower was still in the police station, even though it wasn't, or face insubordination charges. look, that's not great either. And it reminds me of the video that I watched the other day of there were some guys that went to a police office to report police station to report that a bunch of officers who were off duty were illegally using their position of power. And the cop behind the window basically said, nope, we don't take reports like that here. Piss off. And I was really not impressed by that. Wouldn't even hand over the badge number or name or anything like that either. Sounded like they harassed her because she snitched on an officer? Quite possibly. 9 years, she's practically a virgin. In January, her fellow officers shot her in the butt and legs with rubber pellets from a BB gun. The cops laughed like she locked herself while she locked herself in the office and cried. That's not cool. That's not cool. She couldn't believe someone had shot her with pellets, the suit said. The suit said. She also felt humiliation from the fact that others were audibly amused by this misconduct. She reported the incident and was told the next month that officers had been disciplined, but nothing else. In April, she told the town that she planned to sue over discrimination. A few days later, she found out the department's internal reviews office was investigating a problem with her side job at ShopRite. Initially, a civilian made a complaint against her, but none of the allegations resulted in a finding that she engaged in any violations of the department's policies or procedures. Then she got 2 more notifications about other internal affairs investigations, one into alleged misconduct at her side jobs and another issue for her vacation days during the prior year. After a departmental hearing, the brass suspended her for a single day. This is still not okay. Like, look, I don't think anybody comes out clean in this situation. I really don't. She did something inappropriate, and she was facing the appropriate level of ridicule, in my opinion, for it. Should she have been shot in the ass with pellets? Fuck no. Whoever did that should be suspended. And it's very clear that the higher-ups are using internal affairs to cause strife, which is never okay. That is definitely an abusive position of power. Were they trying to deflate the new boobs? God, I hope not. Guys sleep around and they get praised for it, women do it and they get slut-shamed. No, as far as I'm concerned, anybody that does it gets slut-shamed. I'm an equal opportunist slut-shamer. I don't care. That's why I give Cody so much shit. Remember when our parents let us drive the car on the driveway when we were like 8? That's Jersey, not New York. That's barely different. Hasn't slept around since 2014, so when did she get the boob job? It's a good question, Abomination. Anyway, let's move on to this officer who most certainly has a side job. Driver realizes he's seen the cops' privates on an erotic site as she pulls him over. Minneapolis Police Department is allegedly investigating an officer who was landed in hot water after she was recognized as being an OnlyFans model by a driver she pulled over. A cop has apparently been outed as an OnlyFans model last week after she pulled over a driver who subscribed to her content. According to Fox Minneapolis, the Minneapolis Police Department officer is now being investigated by the department to determine if she broke any policy or guidelines by working as an erotic model. The officer is said to be a well-respected cop and has now been recognized for her police work, but her side hustle has landed her in hot water. Speaking to Fox 9, the driver said that she's been following her own OnlyFans page for 5 months, and it took 10 minutes to figure out who she was. Then they were doing a little talking and checking, and I was like, man, she's got an OnlyFans page. I'm on her OnlyFans page, he said. The driver says that he's seen the 4th Precinct officer have sex and post explicit photos. You've got to go to the VIP and you've got to see the videos of her, and I guess her and her husband, they do full sex videos. But does it happen in uniform? And specifically, all I really care about here is there a police department policy against her doing it? If not, it's irrelevant. The officer appears to have been running an OnlyFans site that offers a range of adult content, including pornography, customized videos for an undetermined period. The police chief has confirmed that an investigation is underway to determine if Minneapolis Police Department policy has been violated in any way. Meanwhile, the driver says the realization changed his perspective during the stop. You can't arrest me no more, I've seen your private parts, he added, being a cop and OnlyFans model doesn't mix. Again, I disagree. If there's no actual policy against it, her side hustle is irrelevant. That'd be like the bar trying to tell me that because I'm a lawyer, I'm not allowed to be on YouTube. I mean, don't get me wrong, after what they did to Jordan Peterson in Canada, I fully expect some sort of hammer to come down at some point. So, get your fill of Aussie Overlaw'd while you can, people. Has she utilised police resources, handcuffs, batons? God, tragic. I wouldn't want her to be arresting me, and I just saw you and your husband last night for $29.99 on OnlyFans. That's your own damn problem, mate. I just can't respect you or the precinct you're working at. On Sunday, a spokesperson for Mayor Jacob Frey released his following statement. If all we're talking about is naked pictures behind a paywall, the mayor has no issue. However, the chief will determine if there was any policy violation. It's not clear how long the investigation will take, but as a last check, the officer's OnlyFans page is still up and running. He's like, oh my god, I'm a simp. Yeah, exactly. Isn't Nick in Minnesota and frequently gets pulled over for speeding? I'm going to say no. It's legal, so who cares? Look, generally police departments will have a clause in their department manual that says you won't do anything that brings the profession or the department into disrepute. Now, arguably, whether or not having an OnlyFans brings it in disrepute is a determination by the public, because it's, as this guy has said, he's not going to respect the police force anymore because he knows someone who is on the force that does OnlyFans. Don't get me wrong, I think he's a prick and needs to have his head slapped around. Not that I'm advocating for violence, but it's sort of like if enough people get together and say, no, we're not listening to the police department because this chick's doing OnlyFans, that would be an issue that would bring it into disrepute. It's basically designed to get rid of problems for the police department. Or anywhere else, really. What's that? I'm glad there's someone as perverted as me on YouTube. Oh, fuck me. Fuck you. Fuck everybody. I would say I saw your husband. I can do better. Kidding, of course. I'd never do that to a married woman. If you were still aroused, though, after seeing your husband do it, I'm sorry, but that's a cuck. That's a fair call. That is a fair call. Okay. And we've got to talk about Denise Richards just because it was there. Denise Richards has also been shamed over her OnlyFans by a Real Housewives co-star. Honestly, I feel like Denise Richards should be shamed for being on Real Housewives, but anyway. Denise Richards has been on OnlyFans for well over a year, but sadly her Real Housewives of Beverly Hills co-stars can't seem to get over it. Richards first launched her account on the monetized platform back in June 22, and at the time she said she was shocked at how much money there was to be made. Even though it's been a year and a half since she began a new venture after spending the 90s and 2000s as one of Hollywood's hottest stars, it's become a topic of heated conversation in the newly released trailer of Beverly Hills Season 13. This is just a puff piece for Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. While at dinner alongside fellow returnee Camille Grammer, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Erica Jane attempts to take aim at the Hollywood icon's OnlyFans account. The trailer cuts to Jane talking to others in the group and gossiping about Richards selling a naked bundle of pictures for herself for $7. This sparks a row with Richards, who at another event saves no time in resuming her long-standing feud with The Expensive to Be Me singer? Okay, never heard of it. After finding out she's been talking negatively about her. You think I'm not going to go as fucking low as I can? Jane snaps, to which Richards fires back, "You're one evil woman." Yeah, this is just a puff piece. Don't really give a shit. Matt's like, $7? Yeah, look, I'm not going to lie. And this is a little bit of advice because contractual, okay? $7? A little too cheap. Especially if there's a bundle of... You need to do your cost-benefit analysis as to what you are providing to your potential customers or clients. Make sure you are not undercharging or underselling. Mind you, given that there are people out there that might understand... What am I saying, understanding? It comes up when I do research for Kinky Corner. I'm not making any qualms about it. There are people out there that sell individual pictures for like $50. And I'm sorry, but when there's that much free porn on the internet, you also need to reevaluate your pricing. A $7 bundle. Yeah, exactly. Don't think my micro is worth $7. Neither would anyone else. Come on. It's a damn shame after Starship Troopers. Yeah. Just Cause says makes $23 USD an hour. I mean, Yeah, well. So. No one has $50 in the USA right now. No chance. Okay, I don't think there's anything else there that I really care about, so... Alright. Moving on. I nearly choked. Parents' fury over a $1,600 a year school 6 camp fee. This has been in the spotlight, and this has been at the forefront of my mind recently, having taken little lady Overlaw'd to get enrolled at school. I didn't realize this, but they're phasing out school camps because it has become so ridiculously expensive to run them. And again, cost of living, whatever else you want to say it, and it's really disturbing because it's either they put them on and like a third of the kids get to go on camp and the rest of them have to stay at school. Like that is honestly just depressing. So I have already discussed it with Lady Overlaw'd. At the points where the kids would be going on camp, if for any reason we are unable to afford to send her to camp, or if they cancel them outright that they're talking about, I will pull her out of school for that week and I will take her to camp myself. I will show her the wilderness, the bush. We will go. We will chop wood. We will go hiking. We will put up tents. We will go fishing. We will do all that sort of stuff because I do not want her missing out on that. Not in today's day and age, because it's one of the few ways that I genuinely believe kids are able to experience what life has been like in the past. And they need to get away from this rat race. It is absolutely just pathetic. What the fuck is a school camp? For those of you that don't know, school camp is when all the kids get bundled into a bus, a couple of teachers and extra volunteers take them out into the middle of the wilderness. Generally, at the younger ages, it's for 2 or 3 days. And basically, I mean, it may even be like at a resort or something, so that it's like fake camping. But the kids stay in tents overnight. They cook them for themselves. They learn how to do life skills, all sorts of things. So, camping is free. What the fuck? Yeah. Yeah. So this is just I'm shocked that this is $1,600 though. This is. A South Australian mum has been slugged $1,600 for a 4-day school camp just 1 hour away by bus. Her son, who attains a mid-range fee private school, well, that's part of your problem, and is in year 6, is travelling an hour by bus from Adelaide to an outdoor education camp. The mother sparked a brief social media storm on Tuesday when she posted to X, formerly Twitter. Oh, when are they going to stop saying that? I'm starting to think that certain individuals watch my show and know exactly how much that phrase irritates me. And it's amazing how frequently the news stories that I cover make it onto the evening news. Not that I'm getting a big head and saying that people are watching me. I'm just thinking that maybe some of the writers are using the same sources as me to find news stories. My niece goes to camp every summer. Very similar. So government summer camp, not quite the same. But if it helps you sleep at night, just think of it that way. Does $1,600 for a 4-night year 6 camp in tents seem ridiculously expensive to you, or have I lost all perspective, she wrote. Just got the statement and nearly choked. There goes our Japan trip for another 6 months. Most agreed the fee was ridiculous. One labelled it as a first world problem. First work problem? As a first world problem. The mother took umbrage at the assertion, saying it is hard, actually, when your child runs the risk of missing out on what the other peers are doing, and that can be very upsetting. The Quest, camp and outdoor experiential learning. Okay, now I'm curious about something. Hang on, give me 2 seconds. Quest. Camp and outdoor experiential learning. Because now I want to know, is this specifically something that the school itself has? Okay, so I don't want to out them because it is specific to the school. It's a bespoke and signature experiential learning program that takes the learning of our students out into the world around them. Our students learn by doing in a range of natural settings, chosen to foster resilience and independence, stretch and inspire our young and capable learners. Teaching skills in human capacity, the skills of technology automation cannot attain. Far more than a one-off experience, it builds on skills, curiosities as students visit locations weekly and grow in their understanding of themselves. Okay, so this is something that's purely being put together by a private school, so I no longer think that I care. After having spoken with some other parents, there are children who have to miss this because they are financially stressed. It's all relative. To make matters worse, the fee is not itemised, just a square bill as $1,600 for camp and outdoor experimental learning. Yep, this is ludicrous then. Ask the school for a breakdown of the costs. Yeah, damn straight. Looking at this, I don't believe that it should cost anywhere near $1,600. I mean, they get government funding for various things like that as well. Other parents said that they had sent their children to school camps interstate and even overseas for comparatively less. Maybe inflation is worse than I thought, but only a few short years ago I sent my Year 9 son to China for nearly 7 weeks for $2,600 or so. 5 nights in the Whitsundays, $2,600 includes everything, 15 kids going. Another lamented $1,600. My oldest went on a school trip to New Zealand for 7 days for $3,300. That included everything and the skiing. The mother said she's going to question the exorbitant fee, as well she should. If you're at a private school, though, you aren't financially stressed. I would strongly disagree with that, Mads. I'm one of those people that will be putting my child's education first and foremost, and I will happily put myself under financial stress if I believe it is going to be the best for her educational outcome. Do I believe that that necessarily needs to be the case? No, I don't. But I am one of the people that will usually say, yes, I will forego things and put myself under financial stress if it is for the benefit of my child, irrespective of the setup. Wonder how much of the $1,600 goes to insurance. That's actually a good point, thinking about it. Set up a few tents in the school oval. That works too. So, where are we? I can skip over that. Can't remember if that was a Tesla or not. No, I don't think I care about that. All right. Meet Poppy, who has been sworn in as the first full-time Federal Circuit and Family Court therapy pooch. There she is. She's beautiful. Therapy dog Poppy has become the first pooch to be sworn into the Federal Family Court to offer comfort and support to families navigating the legal system. Poppy began her first shift at the court as a facility dog on Wednesday and will work full-time with the Federal Circuit and Family Court of Australia. As part of the court dog program, she will assist litigants and children who are involved in the court's Melbourne registry. She's beautiful. Poppy will work in all areas of the court, including waiting areas, mediation and interview rooms. I always get those two mixed up. As well as the courtroom to provide emotional support. I fully support this because more often than not, kids are involved. Whether we want them to or not, if there's family disputes, I think it's better if the kid can be sitting there patting a puppy dog on the head while they have to talk about some things that are not great. Will Asteglen, Chief Justice of the Federal Circuit and Family Court of Australia, said Poppy will offer a positive and calming distraction to an overwhelming situation. This is the first time that a therapy or facility dog... Hang on. I need some more fuel. This will be the first time that a therapy or facility dog has been used in an Australian federal court, and backed by behavioural science and the experience of courts around the world, the benefit to litigants will be significant. We are extremely thankful to Guide Dogs Victoria and the Victorian Bar Foundation for their incredible support for this initiative. I'm very pleased to honorarily swear in Poppy to the court today. Yeah, and that's the other thing as well. One thing people don't understand. Aiden's just stalling to look at the good dog more. Absolutely. I'm not going to lie, Poppy reminds me of my first dog that I got when I first moved out on my own. God, I miss Shadow. Looks almost identical. Gorgeous black lab. But what was the point that I was going to make? Shit, now I'm completely lost. Oh, right, Guide Dogs Victoria. People don't know this, but not every dog that goes through guide dog training gets to become a guide dog. Sometimes they don't have the temperament for it. Sometimes they just don't quite get there. So those dogs then have to find homes or be put to use somewhere else. I personally would rather that guide dog, I won't say reject, but washout? No, dropout? No. The guide dogs that are unable to be used as guide dogs, I would prefer that they be in a court setting calming down kids than then being repurposed as, potentially sniffer dogs or whatever else at the airports or anything else like that. Anything where they can be potentially used against us. So I would much rather that they be there for a pat. Thought camp was a cooler, more effective educational experience in school. It's supposed to be. Think all the media shills are just butthurt that people refer to Twitter over X? Maybe. See you, Red-Eye. Looks like they used a Walmart cloth as the uniform. Yeah, therapy dog. Well, I didn't say it, Mighty, but I had to get rid of him. I'm hoping he's not dead. Judge Amanda Mancini said Poppy's presence created instant happiness amid the stress and anxiety associated with attending court. Here at the Federal Circuit and Family Court of Australia, we see firsthand the experience of litigants, especially those who are forced to relive their trauma. Based on the experiences of court all around the world, we know that the presence of Poppy will assist in making the whole court experience more trauma sensitive and help victims to tell their stories and families to tell their stories, which in turn helps us deliver justice. She's beautiful. Good doggo. Dr. Russell Harris from Guide Dogs Victoria explains some dogs don't have the temperament to aid vision impaired and are better suited to provide emotional support. Therapy dogs support individuals by providing a calming experience and reduce stress and anxiety. Attending court is one of the most stressful things an individual ever has to do. Most people have suffered trauma, grief, and loss, and the court process requires them to revisit this. Poppy fills the boots of her predecessor Lucy, who served as a court dog under a pilot program conducted in the courts between November 22 and February 23. Of the participants who engaged in the trial, 100% of the respondents found having a court facility dog in the building was positive, except for the janitor, who had to potentially clean up after the fact. The client felt supported, and they could request the support of the dog again if they were required to attend court again. Not surprised I didn't get a cat. They usually don't give a shit about anyone else. This is true. I don't even have a court case, but I want pats with Poppy. She's beautiful. She's a gorgeous dog, and good on her. But anyway. All right. So we're going to move on to today's case review. How long is it? 17 pages? All right. We're going to whip through it quickly because I'm quickly running out of time. I've been trying to keep the show to an hour to an hour and a half. There was enough here this morning that I just wanted to talk about various things. But I'm really trying to twist things with the watch time and various other things. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing with YouTube. I'm trying to do everything I can to sort of bolster things, and nothing seems to be working. So, excuse me for the erraticness, but I'm trying. I'm trying, Your Honor, I'm trying! The guilty one get feral cats? My dad's 120-pound German Shepherd was kicked out of guard dog training for his temperament. Later kicked out from search and rescue training because of hip issues, became a therapy dog. Oh, awesome. How long before Poppy replaces elbow? Oh, we can only hope. We can only hope. Okay. A company named X Social Media is suing xcorp, a company formerly named Twitter. Turns out Elon Musk isn't as creative at coming up with company names as we previously thought, as his obsession with the letter X is getting him into some legal trouble. A Florida ad agency for law firms is suing the billionaire's business over trademark infringement. Reuters reported that the agency, X Social Media, filed the lawsuit in Florida federal court, arguing that Musk's rebranding of Twitter to X was grounds for customer confusion. I call bullshit. They're in the same space, but you represent people in terms of providing agency services. Arguably, that's a different category. I have something caught in my throat. Give me a second. There are 4 kinds of labs: black, chocolate, yellow, and meth. He would not attack. That's why he was booted. My uncle gave him to us. Oh, awesome. I'd be fine with a chlamydia adult koala over elbow. This is true. The agency argues that it has consistently used the federally registered trademark X Social Media since 2016, which led consumers to associate the agency with social media. The lawsuit claims that the ad agency also invested upwards of $400 million and alleges that xcorp violated Florida's deceptive and unfair trade practices. As X is a social media platform, consumers naturally conflate X Social Media as an xcorp social media platform, the lawsuit argues. Bullshit. X Social Media has already suffered loss in revenue that correlates with xcorp's rebrand and use of the mark X. It is highly probable this reverse confusion will continue to X Social Media's financial detriment and to the detriment of the consumers who use and benefit from its services. There are apparently 900 US trademark registrations on X on a wide variety of different industries. Microsoft, for example, has an X trademark for its Xbox video games console and related platforms and has owned the trademark since 2003. Twitter X competitor Meta has also trademarked X for a software and social media logo. While X Social Media LLC has just filed its lawsuit against X for infringement, this legal limbo could serve as an example for other companies holding similar trademarks to follow. It's just details of when he took over and who's in charge now. So let's have a look at the case. They are irrelevant. Yeah. That's really what it's sounding like. This is action for violation of sections 32 and 43A of the Lanham Act for violations of the common law of the state of Florida arising from unfair competition and trademark and service mark infringement, and for violation of Florida's Deceptive and Unfair Trademark Act. Upon information and belief, the court has personal jurisdiction. Venue is proper. Background facts. X Social Media LLC is a vanguard in utilizing social media and marketing technology to connect consumers with legal services in situations where those harmed would otherwise remain voiceless and without remedy. If that's the case, how come at no point in the 18 months or so prior to him changing to X, how's this never come up at any point? There's already a company called X Social Media. Did literally anyone know? Damn good question. There are 3,000 registrations for online in the adult entertainment industry alone. And you know what? Porn's allowed on Twitter, on X, so arguably. X Social Media Services advertises its service under the federally registered trademark X Social Media. X Social Media mark. The X Social Media has continuously used the mark in commerce since at least early 2016, entitling its mark to a presumption of incontestability. Its significant investment in market awareness has resulted in creating a distinctive X mark successfully associated with its social media advertising practices. If that were the case, see, you're sort of shooting yourself in the foot here, because what you're saying is that you have created a distinctive thing that everyone recognizes. And yet now apparently everyone's confusing with the social media company run by Elon Musk. Kind of feel like you're shooting yourself in the foot. From the company's inception, the X has signified the act of obtaining hope and help via the unprecedented power of social media. For people from a range of injustices. XCorp, formerly Twitter Inc., is an online news and social networking site acquired by billionaire Elon Musk in 2022. In a move that captured national and international attention, Twitter publicly launched a stunning rebrand campaign in July 23, announcing that it was adopting the mark X, the infringing mark, as the brand for its formidable social media platform. XCorp's use of the X mark and recent attempt to register the mark in association with social media, business data, promotion and advertising, business consulting, market research services, and advertising services, collectively the infringing services, necessitates this action because its conduct has caused or will continue to cause serious irreparable harm to X social media. X Social Media has offered its advertising and social media services connecting law firms to those in need of advocates since 2016. It's also among the first channel to channel the power of Facebook, now Meta, as a mechanism for educating victims of tort and connecting them with advocates committed to turning the tide on social harms. Holy shit! In a roundabout way, they're saying that these guys invented legal social media. Sounds like they're doing it for the advertising. It does sound a little bit like that, doesn't it? X Social Media, founded in 2015 by Jacob Malherbe, began using the X Social Media mark with its distinctive and dominant letter X to signify the beginning of a life-changing journey towards justice. I'm sorry, what? The mission was to use the power of social media, advertising, and data analysis to educate consumers about dangerous goods and services and to provide consumers with access to legal advocates who could give victims a voice, according to Exhibit A. What are we, page 4? They didn't include the exhibits. That's annoying. In addition, the symbolic emphasis of the X social media frequently emphasized the X portion of its mark throughout its advertising blogs and newsletters, highlighting the work, the X blog and X Weekly. X Social Media has honed its strategies primarily through Meta's Facebook platform, investing over $400 million in advertising to ensure that potential victims are aware of potentially dangerous goods and services, as well as aware of potential avenues for redress if they have been harmed. Again, another avenue in which I think they are shooting themselves in the foot. They are basically saying that the majority of their advertising, the majority of their market share, of everything else, is done on a completely different social media platform. How the hell are you going to have confusion and whatever else conflicting on trademarks if no one's ever going to see it? Not only because it's on Facebook, but because there's no if the market if you look at it as a pie chart, if the circles on the pie chart never actually cross, it's yeah, no, I don't like this. Actually, you know what? I really wish Kurt were here, but you know. Because honestly, I do. Well, I mean, obviously, the trademark law in the US is significantly different to what it's here in Australia. So, I mean, I could well be talking out my ass. I'm giving the Australian perspective on a American legal case, just for anyone that has any sort of qualms about that. There's the door. Feel like Tom from MySpace was the inventor of social media? I would like to think so. Is Deadpool suing over infringing on the X-Force? This is what is happening now. Activist class are becoming lawyers. The BS level and flowery, self-righteous, heroic language in claims is skyrocketing. Yeah. X social media advertises its service to customers, including businesses and law firms, through its website, xsocialmedia.com. Books authored by its founder, a quarterly magazine, extensive participation in trade shows and conferences. X Social Media has invested over $2 million to date in building brand awareness and reaching consumers. X Social Media's consistent messaging and the strategic use of social media and data analytics to assist law firms has resulted in impressive growth. Inc. 5000 ranked X Social Media as the 159th fastest growing private company in the United States in 2020, highlighting its staggering 2,439% 3-year revenue growth. So what you're saying is you hit a financial bubble, you were enjoying it, it's popped, and now you're blaming Musk and Twitter for your lack of continued enjoyment of that. That's a tough sell to me as well. I had the wild idea of comparing the two logos, but when I search X social media logo, the only thing I see is Twitter. Are they saying that Elon took their logo? What they're saying is that because Elon's taken the name, they're not getting any market share as a result of it. So there is also this X is in business with Meta. Seems fishy. Well, there is that. X Social Media has further protected its brand by investment in registering the trademark X Social Media with the United States Patent and Trademark Office for use in association with advertising services. Yeah, for use with advertising services. In what universe is advertising services in the same category as provision of social media? The social media mark has been used exclusively and continuously for over 5 years and has become incontestable. Yes, in relation to advertising, go for it. On or about July 2023, Twitter announced its plan to rebrand the social media platform. Yes, upon the horizon, there is spamming going on in Rumble as well. Upon information, I believe Twitter knew of X social media's pre-existing rights prior to its launching its media campaign. Why the fuck would X know about that? Why? You imply social media exists for reasons other than ads. Google and Facebook disagree. XCorp made international filings for X in March 2023. These international filings were on the basis of 7 applications before the US Patent and Trademark Office. The applications were granted a federal priority date of March 24, 2023. Court filings formally acknowledged the formation of the legal entity XCorp as early as April 23. Blah, blah, blah. Basically, they're just butthurt because X is taking market share, when, to be fair, it shouldn't, because they're in different areas. So I can just register 26 companies each with a letter of the alphabet and sue anyone using my alphabet. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you establish the use of the trademark for long enough, and yeah, absolutely. So why doesn't X Social Media sue X Video? Forbidden Ruin, what is this X Video you speak of? X Social Media has already suffered loss in revenue that correlates with X Corp's rebrand and the use of the trademark X. It is highly probable this reverse confusion will continue to social media's X social media's financial detriment and to the detriment of consumers who use and benefit from its services. I would argue that X social media may or may not be using the word social media appropriately. Nice reaction time. Yeah, well. Don't know, found out that it exists last month. I'm not going to end up on xcorp and be like, why can't I tweet? Well, xcorp's adoption of the X trademark exemplifies exceptionally willful conduct, as it has a legal duty to conduct due diligence and avoid infringing on existing rights. xcorp was well aware of its legal duty and chose to pursue its X mark agenda over avoiding consumer confusion. You know where I think the confusions come from? I don't think that they're actually having any sort of confusion in amongst or between the two companies. I think what's happened is that as a result of the way that, say, Google and other search engines algorithms work, that this company is now being buried because people are searching for the same name. But given that they're in different areas, I don't think they're actually infringing on the trademark here. As a sophisticated company with a substantial intellectual property portfolio, including numerous federally registered trademarks, and by the way, I'm more than happy to be proven wrong. Okay? More than happy to have a discussion with anybody that knows any more of this. This is BS for trademarking, absurdly common letters, and needs to stop. If you want a defensible trademark, make it creative. Well, there is that. X Social Media attempted to resolve the infringing use of its trademark by filing this application in the federal court by sending XCorp a cease and desist letter in August 23. XCorp declined to cease the use of the mark and continued to disregard the rights of X Social Media. Despite the knowledge, they continued, blah, 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 blah. Oh, this is funny. Hang on. Maybe I do need to read this. Despite its knowledge of the trademark, XCorp filed multiple trademark applications for the use of X, including an application for the following services. Business data analysis. Yeah, they can file whatever trademarks they like. You have filed it for advertising services. They can go ahead and file whatever trademarks they like. Just because you didn't do it first is not anyone else's problem. Promotional services, business consulting and information services, business, consumer, and market research. These services are not only identical and closely related to those offered by X Social Media, but they also encompass services and market channels where X Social Media has labored for years to successfully cultivate brand awareness for its X Social Media mark amongst consumers. Too bad, so sad. In short time, XCorp has wielded its social media clout, marketing resources, and other national notoriety to dominate consumer perceptions of its X mark. This has resulted in the perception that XCorp is a source of services under the X Social Media mark, despite the fact that the X Social Media has offered services under its own X mark for over 8 years. Even a simple Google search with the query X Social Media will lead this to the following answer. And I think this is a problem with how you named your company more than anything else. Frankly, I don't think you should have been allowed to trademark the words social media. I genuinely believe it's one of those broad categories that you should not be able to trademark. It's like trying to trademark a ridiculously common word. Admittedly, I don't know how the hell they got away with X, because what's more common than the letters in the alphabet? But Googling X produces Twitter as the first result. Of course it does. Elon's having an autistic moment at the letter X. In my opinion, he's pissed that nobody liked his X.com, and he feels like he needs to prove that the world that he's right because he can. What? No? I'm not quite sure what you're talking about there, Isabel. So here's the Google search. I love this. Who owns X social media platform? They're relying on wikipedia.org. Who's to say that someone from this company didn't go in and amend it? Who owns X social media platform? There's a little bit of a difference there. Who owns the X social media platform? Who owns the company X social media? XX is a domain that's for sale presently. No shit, really? X social media is a wholly subsidiary. The social media platform is a wholly owned subsidiary of X Holding Corp, which itself is owned by Musk. The company owns the social networking service Twitter, currently rebranded as X, and has announced plans to use it as a base for other offerings. X Corp's disparate market strength and advertising leverage is leading and will continue to lead customers to believe that X social media is associated or affiliated with X Corp. Unfortunately, such a perception is financially and strategically harmful to X social media's brand and consumer perception of its mission-driven goals. Again, I call bullshit. Just Googled them and got a lot more of Twitter. Yeah, of course. I thought Wikipedia wasn't usable in legal stuff because people can edit it however they want. Look, it varies from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. I would never rely on anything from Wikipedia unless it was to say that someone deliberately edited Wikipedia to be defamatory. That's about the only time I would use it, and only if you could go back and backtrack as to who actually altered the page. Honestly, this feels like someone's a little bit butthurt. I mean, like I was saying before, social media itself shouldn't be able to be trademarked. It's like the word plumbing or carpentry or electricians. You know, you can't just trademark the word electrician and put it on the side of your work van. There has to be something about it that is identifiable and unique to you. Can't wait till the X-Men join the suit. So what are they claiming? Registered trademark and service mark infringement, common law unfair competition, deceptive and unfair trading practices, common law trademark and service mark infringement, prayer for relief. So what are they asking for? An injunction from them: marketing, offering, selling, or distributing services bearing the X mark. So they want X to be completely removed from the platform. From engaging in deceptive trade practices or acts in conduct with the defendant's business by means of offering services in association with the X social media mark, directing the defendant to remove all references to X or X social media or any confusingly similar variations thereof, directing the defendant to publish corrective advertising to correct the consumer confusion caused by defendant's infringement of X, awarding the plaintiff's damages from its unlawful acts, awarding the plaintiff 3 times the amount of plaintiff's damages, or the defendant's profits, whichever is greater. Yeah, this ain't a cash grab. My comments about the XX website are being disappeared by YouTube. Isn't it X social media or not social media? Yes, but again, I don't believe that should be sufficient enough for it to actually have been trademarked. And if it is sufficient for it to be trademarked, then they shouldn't be able to be using it against Musk in this instance. Because obviously in that case, then it's sufficiently of a delineation that people shouldn't need to be worried about being confused. I mean, it's the same as saying, where is another example of this that I can think of? It's basically like saying Chuck's Woodworking. All of a sudden, another bigger competitor called Charles's Woodworking comes in, and because there's a delineation between the word Chuck and Charles, I mean, yes, obviously they're not identical because it's X versus X. It's a poor example, but what I'm saying is, yeah, or using the word Aussie. There's a reason that my name is not just Aussie. It is Aussie Overlaw'd. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, what was that? Triple H, yeah. Twitter's trying to rebrand itself ridiculously foolish, technically. Well, he wanted his ex company for as long as he's wanted, as long as he's done most things. So, awarding the plaintiff costs and expenses incurred in connection with the action, as well as reasonable attorney fees. Awarding the plaintiff such other or further relief as the court may deem just and proper. Yes, the WWF or the WWE. Exactly. Yep. Aussie Big Bald. I mean, who the hell is going to... Who in their right mind was going to mistake the World Wildlife Fund, or the World Wildlife Foundation, or whatever it is, for the World Wrestling Federation? What's that? You need to get into the AFL for that? Yeah. But anyway. Alright, guys. I'm going to get out of here. As always, please double check whether or not you've liked the stream, whether or not you are still subscribed, and just double check whether or not you've hit that notification button, because I like seeing you all here. Makes it easier for me, makes it better for you, and hopefully I've helped you improve your day at least just a little bit. As always, please remember you are not a piece of shit. You do have value, and you very much are appreciated here. And as always, people, stay healthy, wealthy, and wise, and I will catch you on the flip side. Cheers, guys.
This shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.